Hello and welcome. This is my project report on life expectancy across various countries of the world. This data was presented to me by the Quantum Analytics NG, and it spans from the year 2000 to the year 2015, including most countries of the world. Now, on this data, the goal is to derive which country or continent particularly has the least life expectancy and which country has the highest life expectancy, and also to derive which factor or factors affect the life expectancy of these countries. And the factors we considered in this project are the BMI, HIV/AIDS spread, the under 5 mortality rate, adult mortality rate, education level, which accounts for literacy level, the spread of measles, and the GDP of these countries or continents. In this study, in this project, the reports indicated that the life expectancy is highest in Europe, in South America, and least in Asia and Africa, with Africa having the least life expectancy. And with this life expectancy, it is shown that on an average, every citizen in Europe is expected to live up to about 78 years. Then in South America, every citizen is expected to live up to 73 years, which is the same in North America. But in the case of Africa, the life expectancy is 58 years. So on that note, we decided to understand the factors that contributed to Africa having the lowest life expectancy. We want to understand the factors that contributed to Africa having the least life expectancy. Then it was found that in the continent of Europe, which has the highest life expectancy, their BMI are averagely high compared to that of Africa experiencing underweight, which shows that their average BMI, the BMI expected from every African citizen, is expected to be about 22.03 measures of the BMI, and Asia having 30, whereas Europe is having 53, indicating healthy living of the individuals. Then, considering the factors attributed to HIV/AIDS, Africa has the highest rate of HIV/AIDS with an average of 5.7% of HIV spread in Africa. So hence, we have been able to establish that Africa has the lowest life expectancy among all continents, and it has the lowest BMI as a factor, and having the highest HIV/AIDS as a factor. Then considering under 5 mortality, we can see that under 5 mortality is highly common in Asia and Africa, with Asia having 120 under 5 mortality deaths in every 1,000 child, and Africa having about 69 under 5 mortality in every 1,000 child. Then in understanding adult mortality rates, it was shown that most Africans experience adult mortality rates across all the continents of the world. Then by evaluating, and Europe having the least adult mortality rates and also having the least under 5 mortality rate, then on evaluating education, it was shown that the literacy rates for Europe is the highest across the world, having 15%, while South Africa, Oceania having 13% each, and Africa having 9 compared to 15, indicating that Africa is the least in the world ranking for literacy levels. Then, on understanding the spread of measles, Africa also seems to have the second highest measles spread in the world, accounting for about 2 million of its residents or citizens having measles in the continent. And evaluating the GDP, we found out that Europe has the highest gross domestic product, and Africa having the lowest gross domestic product with about 1,000 billion dollars GDP per year. And in all of this, we could see that the life expectancy for Africa is the least in the entire world, and Africa seems to be affected by malnutrition or underweighting, and the effect of the high presence of HIV in the continent, with the high levels of under 5 mortality, and also a very high level of adult mortality rates, with a low level of education literacy rates, and high spread of measles, with a very low GDP across the continent. Then we can also sort this by the year of occurrence, and with this we can find out that in 2000, Africa retained is the position of having the least life expectancy, with the least BMI, high HIV rates, under 5 mortality also high, adult mortality rate also high, and the rest. Then we can see that up until the most recent year, in the year 2015, that Africa also was reported to have an extremely Africa. The only continent that were reported for 2015 was Europe and Asia. Then, evaluating 2014, we see that Africa also has the least life expectancy, also have the least BMI, affected by high HIV rates and high mortality rates for under 5, mortality rates for adults, also having the least education level, then having the second largest measles rates and the low GDP. So this indicated that BMI, HIV, under 5 mortality rates, adult mortality rates, low education levels, high levels of measles, and low GDP are factors contributing to life expectancy in the world. Thank you very much.